April 22nd, 1998. A sandstorm, a hostile Australian attack, and one man's genius. This is how Sachin Tendulkar changed cricket forever. Why do experts call this the greatest ODI innings of all time? The Coca-Cola Cup was a tri-nation cricket tournament played in Sharjah in 1998. This was the first cricket tournament in Sharjah to be sponsored by Coca-Cola and was played under the aegis of the Cricketers' Benefit Fund series. The round-robin format was followed with each team playing the other two teams twice each. All matches were day and night games, and the tournament featured India, Australia, and New Zealand cricket teams. This tournament was the first one in 10 years which was held in Sharjah that Pakistan was not a part of. 24,000 spectators witnessed the final, a record turnout for a match at Sharjah Cricket Association Stadium, where all the matches were played. April 22nd, 1998, Sharjah, a blistering desert heat, a howling sandstorm, and a match that would define a generation. India was cornered. Australia, the world champions, had set a monstrous target, 284 runs. But this wasn't just about winning, this was survival. To stay alive in the tournament, India had to beat Australia or crash out in disgrace. The equation was brutal. India needed to chase down 284, a mammoth task in the 90s. But then, nature intervened. A furious sandstorm swept across the stadium, halting play. When the dust settled, the target was revised. 276 in 46 overs. But there was a catch. To qualify for the final, India had to reach at least 237. No excuses, no second chances. And then, Sachin Tendulkar walked out to bat. Just days earlier, Warne had humiliated him. The world expected another collapse. But what followed wasn't just an innings. It was a storm of its own. 6. Another 6. Warne, the magician, was being torn apart. The desert storm had passed, but Sachin was just getting started. Cramps crippled him. The heat was unbearable. Yet he kept charging, boundary after boundary, as if possessed. The Australians? Stunned. The crowd? Electric. India wasn't just fighting for a win, it was fighting for pride. 143 runs, 131 balls, 9 fours, 5 sixes. India lost the match, but they had crossed the magic number, 237. They were through to the final, and cricket would never be the same again. This wasn't just an innings. This was the moment Sachin Tendulkar became immortal. The day India learned to believe. Some innings win matches, some define careers, but very few change the sport itself. Sachin Tendulkar's Desert Storm didn't just electrify Sharjah, it rewrote the rules of cricket. This was the day batting transformed, the day fear shifted sides, the day a nation's belief was forged in fire and sand. Before 1998, ODI batting was cautious. Survive the early overs, rotate strike, accelerate late. But Sachin, he tore up the manual. Against the best attack in the world, Warne, Fleming, Kasperwich, he didn't just attack, he annihilated. Those back-to-back sixes off Warne, a message to every cricketer, passivity is obsolete. Suddenly, every young batsman wanted to dominate, not just survive. Within a decade, Sehwag, Gilchrist, and later Kohli would turn aggression into the norm. But the blueprint? It was drawn in Sharjah. Warne, the king of mind games, the man who'd made batsmen doubt their own shadows. But here, Sachin treated him like a net bowler. That 6-over long on wasn't just a shot, it was a psychological nuke. For decades, spinners operated in comfort. Flight the ball, lure the mistake. But after Sharjah, every spinner faced a new question. What if the batsman wants to hit you? Leg spinners began bowling flatter. Doosras were invented. The entire art evolved because one man refused to kneel. For years, India played with a small team mentality. Overseas, chases, we'll lose. But when Sachin walked off that day, cramps crippling him, yet still pulling Kasperwich for 4, something shifted. A nation saw itself in that struggle. The message, if he can fight alone, why can't we? This innings birthed the new India, Not just in cricket, but in mindset. The belief that no target was too big, no opponent invincible. Without Desert Storm, does Dhoni lift that 2011 World Cup? Does Kohli chase down 339 in 36 overs? History whispers, unlikely. Before 98, cricketers sold soap. After, Sachin sold dreams. Overnight, brands realized heroism sells. His MRF bat, boost ads, that iconic "Ye kya ho raha hai?" all stemmed from Sharjah's aura. Today's IPL millionaires? They owe their paychecks to the day cricket became entertainment. The day a boy from Mumbai proved cricket wasn't just sport, it was spectacle. Today, batsmen study bowler heat maps. Back then, Sachin invented them. His assault on Warne's leg stump line wasn't luck. It was calculated destruction. 2 decades before matchups became jargon, he was exploiting them. Modern cricket's obsession with data? Its roots trace to Sharjah. Because genius doesn't just play the game, it redefines it. Every era has its before and after. For cricket, the line was drawn on April 22, 1998. Before Desert Storm, batting was a craft. After, it was a weapon. Before, India hoped. After, they expected. Before, spinners ruled. After, they feared. This wasn't just an innings. This was the big bang of modern cricket, and its echoes will never fade. Let's get this straight. India lost the game. But here's the twist. They qualified for the final because Sachin's 143 took them past the critical Duckworth-Lewis cutoff, 237. The myth, that he won it. The truth, he did something bigger. He saved India's pride despite the loss. Some say the storm broke Australia's momentum. Reality, it made India's task harder. The revised target, higher than the original required rate. Sachin didn't get help from the storm. He conquered it. Oh, he was cramping all right. Watch his face. That's not acting. That's a man pushing through agony. The myth? That he exaggerated it. The proof? Australian fielders carried his bat during a break. Even the opposition knew they were witnessing something superhuman. Before 98, India's strategy in chases? Don't lose wickets. After, destroy the bowlers. Sachin's aggression became India's DNA. Fast forward 20 years. Who's the greatest chaser ever? Kohli. Coincidence or inheritance? Warne's average against India skyrocketed after Sharjah. Why? Because every young Indian batsman now believed, if Sachin can murder Warne, so can I. From Sehwag to Yuvi, a generation grew up hunting spin, not surviving it. This innings birthed a double-edged sword. The good, India believed in miracles. The bad, for years, fans expected Sachin to do it every time. The weight of a billion dreams? It started here. Before Desert Storm, Sharjah was just another venue. After, it became India's fortress. The crowd, 90% India. The vibe, a home game in the UAE. The BCCI's entire Gulf strategy, built on this innings. Some innings fade into scorecards. Others, they become eternal. Sachin's Desert Storm wasn't just a knock. It was a revolution wrapped in sweat and sand. It changed how we bat, how we chase, how we believe. Years passed, rules changed, cricket evolved. But that April night in Sharjah, it still burns. In highlight reels and stadium chants, in every kid who dreams of owning the storm. So tell me, where were you when Sachin painted the desert sky? Drop your memories below. And if this video brought back goosebumps, smash that like button. Because cricket isn't just a sport, it's stories like these.